Whenever I make a take on Major League Baseball, or before I make a take on Major League Baseball, I've done this a couple times, I've noticed. I kind of make a disclaimer or a statement that I don't watch baseball all that much, so maybe my understanding of the sport may be less than somebody who watches the sport all the time. And that's not to discredit myself or delegitimize my take on the subject, because I still stay up to date with it and I'm informed with it. Just maybe my overall understanding may be lesser than somebody who's really into baseball. Like, obviously, I'm really into basketball and I'm really into football, and somebody who may be a baseball and a hockey fan who doesn't know as much about basketball and football, they may be informed, but they may not understand the logistics of what is happening and why something is important. So that's why today, for this topic, I kind of come a little bit open-handed. And I come not with a solidified take on the subject, but more just of an open question that I'm hoping you all can help me with, because there is very clearly something happening in Major League Baseball right now that's kind of unprecedented. I was going to talk about this yesterday, and I wasn't able to record yesterday, and that was right after the fifth no-hitter of the season was thrown. And then Corey Kluber last night throws the sixth no-hitter of the season. And in case you were wondering, the record in MLB history for the most no-hitters thrown in a season was 8. And in the modern era, it's actually 7. We're only in the month of May, and we've already hit the 6th no-hitter. Batting and offense is at an all-time low in the MLB, the lowest batting average, the lowest on-base percentage, I think, as well. Some crazy stats. So, there's very clearly a pitching dominance in Major League Baseball right now. And it's kind of struck me as to be a little bit weird. I don't even know if weird is the right choice of word for it, but I'm very curious to know what baseball fans think as to whether or not this pitching domination is a problem for Major League Baseball, the sport as a whole, or not. Because when the casual fan watches baseball, right? So if I'm, flicking through my TV and I see, okay, Sunday Night Baseball is on, it's the Mets versus the Phillies or something, right? It's like, okay, the Phillies have, Bryce Harper, Andrew McCutchen, JT Realmuto. They've got some really good players. The Mets have star pitching in DeGrom and Syndergaard and so on and so forth. So, the stars of the game. Alonso at first base for New York as well. So there's the star players, and generally speaking, what's going on. When you tune into those games, you expect, okay, Bryce Harper's going to, pop off offensively, or there's going to be a lot of action. You ideally want like a 7 to 8 run game, offenses going back and forth with one another. That's entertaining baseball, right? As a casual fan, that's kind of what you're expecting. So in the past few seasons, when there's been a development in which pitching has kind of taken over, there's been less and less offense, which makes things for casual fans, in my mind, less and less entertaining, which is why ratings have kind of not been so good recently. So it's gotten to a point in which it almost feels like there is a no-hit threat pretty much every single night. Like, I will have my ESPN app open and see, wow, okay, this person now has not allowed a hit through 6 or 7 innings. What's going on? The no-hitter in my mind was kind of like, I don't know, just to keep it with baseball sense, it's like hitting the cycle for a pitcher. If you throw a no-hitter, it's extremely difficult to do, and in the sports world, we put so much emphasis and pride and celebration on the fact that you've thrown a no-hitter. It was always, in my mind, perceived as something extremely special, so when it happened, it was worthy of celebration and acclaim because it was so difficult. And now we're seeing a situation in which a no-hit threat is happening pretty much every single night. So my questions are, is it getting to a point in which throwing a no-hitter is losing its jazz, its special nature, if it's losing its pizzazz? Is throwing a no-hitter becoming less and less special because of how dominant pitching is becoming? And is this a good or bad thing for baseball? Because as I said, as the casual baseball fan, you're going into a game, you want to see a high-scoring, home run-filled game, because that's entertaining. Offense is always more entertaining than defense, right? And that pretty much goes for every sport. I can't think of a sport in which defense is more entertaining than offense. Offense is so entertaining, so now that, there's all these no-hitters being thrown, it's going at a record pace. I wouldn't be surprised if, the record actually does end up getting broken this season. Is it affecting Major League Baseball in a good way or a bad way? Because no-hitters are special, they're extremely difficult to do. It's just not what most people would like to see. People would like to see offense. So my questions really are the following. Are these no-hitters losing their special nature? 2, is the fact that all of these no-hitters being thrown good or bad for baseball? Because every time a no-hitter gets thrown, it's a big deal, right? Is it good or bad for the sport of baseball because people come to watch offense? And 3, I guess really, is this a problem for the sport overall? And is it something that the sport can overcome? It's just something that's been playing in my mind, and a question that I wanted to ask and wanted to get out to more of the diehard baseball fans who may watch baseball every single day, who, in comparison to me, where I obviously am informed, I keep up on everything, but it's not my favorite sport, so I don't understand the nicks and crannies of the sport and why things may or may not be important. So I'm very interested to see what kind of response I get to this and what side people fall on, because I imagine that there's 2 sides to the coin, right? There's people that are saying we're watching history being made with the amount of pitching domination that's being displayed on the baseball diamond, right? This domination from pitchers hasn't been this strong since, I would argue, 2011, 2012, where pitching was really, really strong. And then obviously we had a huge home run surge in the middle of the decade, and now into the next decade, it appears like pitching is being very dominant again. I'm very interested to see whether people see it as, okay, this is history in the making, we're watching history being done right now, or people saying this is really bad, this is making the sport boring to watch. I would prefer that home runs were still, better, or still happening more frequently. It makes the sport entertaining to watch. Or maybe a potential third option, which you're saying, hey, look, things go up and down. Sometimes pitching is stronger, sometimes batting is stronger. It's just the ebb and flow of the sport. This is nothing to do, or this is very little to do, not a big deal. So I'm very interested to see what kind of response, if I get a response on the video from some of you who are hardcore baseball fans. Let me know, and keep it friendly down in the comment section. By the way, keep it friendly. That's kind of something that I've been thinking about over the past few days when it comes to baseball. I was going to talk about it yesterday, as I said. With all the no-hitters being thrown, we were already at 5, and then Corey Kluber, the very next night, throws the 6th no-hitter of the season, and MLB is at a speed train pace in order to seemingly to break this record for most no-hitters thrown in a single season. Hey folks, thank you so much for listening to this segment from the Hard-Headed Sports Podcast. If you enjoyed this segment, make sure that you drop a like on the video and a comment. It helps me out a bunch. And if you're interested in watching more segments like this from the show after the show has been completed, you should definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're interested in listening to the entire show in its full-length entirety, you should listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Once again, thank you so much for watching the video. My name is Nick Ryan, and I will see you all again very soon.